Joe Biden has now taken a commanding lead in the national polls. Now, I'm going to show you two recent polls before I get to the latter half of this video, which I shot on Friday, but the numbers for the most part have not changed since Friday, except for these two polls that I'm going to show you. So let's get to them right now. So on October 1st, you had this national debate poll, or national poll, post-debate poll. Biden, 54 to 41 Trump. So Biden up by 13 points. This is an improvement over the previous poll from this pollster, CNBC Change Polls, where they had Biden in their previous poll up by 9. So since the debate in this poll, Biden has increased his lead to 13 points. Let's also take a look at the most recent poll coming out this morning on Sunday. I'm shooting this on a weekend, working a weekend. I hope you appreciate it. But here is NBC News. Biden's national lead over Trump jumps to 14 points after debate in NBC News Wall Street Journal poll. So the details here. The poll was conducted in the 2 days after the unruly and insult-filled September 29th debate, but before Trump tested positive for COVID-19 and was hospitalized on Friday. The Democratic nominee is now ahead of Trump by 14 points among registered voters, 53% to 39%, up from his 8-point lead in the previous poll before the debate. That 14-point advantage represents Biden's largest lead in the NBC News Wall Street Journal poll during the entirety of the 2020 presidential campaign. His previous high was 11 points in July. Now, they mentioned something here that has to be brought up. This is 2 days after the debate, but before Trump tested positive. So there's this question of, will Trump's positive COVID-19 diagnosis, will this somehow gain him some sympathy, even though he's the one that played down the virus and is the reason that it is as bad as it is right now in the U.S. But still, people see somebody who, they may feel bad for him in some way. So maybe that makes them support him now. I don't know. So we're going to have to wait on polls next week to see what kind of impact that diagnosis has had on the race. But as far as post-debate polls so far, Biden's looking even better. So now let me go to the rest of the breakdown of the polls that I shot on Friday. I want to take a look at some recent polls. Of course, Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Let's see where the race stands right now. So first, I'll show you the Real Clear Politics poll average. Of course, this is national polling. Biden leading by 6.8 points, which has been fairly consistent. As you see here, there is no point during this race where Trump has led in the national poll. It is an almost guarantee that Biden's going to win the popular vote. Of course, the only question comes around the Electoral College. So let us check out. And by the way, a lot of this is new to me as well, so we're going to find out together some of the results when it comes to these battleground states. All right, Wisconsin, Biden leading by 5.5 points. Has been fairly consistent throughout the race. The only point where Trump was leading was early on. I believe this is in March, April. Yeah. So back then, Trump was doing fine. But since then, Biden has continued to essentially grow his lead and is sitting fairly comfortably right now in Wisconsin. Let's see what else. Let's check North Carolina. Biden leading by 0.5 point in North Carolina. That one's been really close. Continues to be close. Let's check just a few more here. Arizona's one that's been a new one they're fighting over, as John McCain's wife, Cindy McCain, backed Joe Biden. Biden up there now by 3 points. This is the kind of, look, you have to understand, this is big. This is a big deal. The fact that a Democrat is leading in Arizona is a big deal. And you saw for most of this race, Trump was leading Biden, but now Biden has, for the most part, since about March, April, been leading in Arizona. That's big. Let's go to a more traditional battleground or more recent battleground. Let's do Michigan. Biden leading 5.2. So you see there as well, he's led the entire race in Michigan. So this is just real clear politics. I also want to get to 538, as 538 has more of a weighted average. So they look at different pollsters and how consistent they've been in terms of actually predicting results, and then give them a rating based on that. So, but before I get there, let's also just do Ohio. Biden leading by 3.3 points in Ohio. The hell is this? Sponsored content. Okay, they don't have the breakdown here. But there you go. So let's get to 538 now. Who is ahead in the national polls according to 538? So this can be hard to get the accurate results. But here, as of October 2nd, Biden leading by 7.4 points in or nationally. And as you see throughout the race, he has held a consistent lead. Let's check Ohio. Really close in Ohio right here, but Biden leading by almost 1.5 points. Let's check. I want to go back to Arizona. Biden leading by 3.1. Arizona seems a potential lock here. Let's check Texas. Trump leading by 2 points, which absolutely could collapse. 2 points is not a lot, especially if one of the big potentials here for this race is that a lot of people that did not vote last time are going to come out and vote this time simply to vote against Trump, meaning that a lot of this polling could be off in favor of Biden. So in 2016, a lot of the polling was off in favor of Trump, as he brought out a lot of non-voters or people that hadn't voted previously. But now Biden is going to bring out a lot of people that just want to get rid of Trump that didn't vote last time, meaning that they're not being included in many of these polls, as most polls simply poll, likely voters. But here you have people or these races fairly close, even in a state like Texas. And if enough typical non-voters come out to vote for Biden, it could flip. What else should we check here? Have I done Michigan on this? I don't think I have. Biden pretty comfortable in Michigan, leading by 7 points. Let's do one more. Georgia has been one that's been a potential toss-up here. Look at that. Look at that. Biden leading even in Georgia. All right. Of course, look, I'm actually fairly confident. I think if everything was equal, if everything was fair, if every ballot was counted and everyone that could vote was able to vote, I think Biden would easily win this election. The only worry I have is that Trump's going to try and steal the election. Assuming he gets better from COVID, assuming he's back in the race and everything's normal, I think he's going to do what he can to try and claim victory on election day, as a lot of the Democratic ballots going to be mailed in, meaning a lot of it's going to be counted after election day. So a lot of Biden's vote may not come in till days or weeks later. So that gives Trump the potential opportunity to possibly win the same day vote on election day, claim victory, and then try and stop the counting of the mail-in ballots. So that's my only real fear when it comes to this election, is Trump's going to try various ways to steal the election. But if all things are equal and people that are able to vote can vote, I do think Biden would easily win this election. But I'm gonna keep an eye on these polls and continue every week up until the election, giving you an update on where the race stands.